today, we need to talk about Jung Kook getting hurt online with terrible things being said about him. We also need to talk about Jung Kook being told by alleged sasaengs telling him to go die at the airport. And then we have Jung Kook's interaction with fans at the airport. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate or not, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell on, grab your dumpling, taste bling mug merch, and let's go. Jung Kook is probably someone that we all know. What I mean by this is we probably all know of someone who loves dancing, who doesn't like to sit or stand still, and probably would always be dancing or moving a bit if they're waiting in line. And this is someone that Jung Kook is. Well, of course, Jung Kook is a super famous and rich idol. If he wants to board commercial flights, he definitely has to go through the check-in process just like everyone else. Since he flies a lot, he probably has a TSA pre-check, global entry, or those things, but he still has to go through a general check. He just maybe doesn't have to take off his shoes. Since there's a lot of people that try to show up at the airport to get a glimpse of Jung Kook or want to see him in real life, every step of what Jung Kook does at the airport is heavily documented. From moments where he is getting checked to even earlier moments when he is checking in at the front desk. And people were very happy and in awe of how cute Jung Kook is when he is simply waiting for his turn online, and you can see him grooving and dancing a little bit in line. People also then associate this action with Jung Kook possibly grooving and dancing in his military uniform. And then we can definitely see that as well. Jung Kook is definitely very outgoing and prefers to move and do stuff. He is definitely not an introvert and probably likes to play sports or work out and do those things. By the way, introvert just means that you get energy from within, and extrovert just means you get energy externally. It doesn't necessarily mean people. Because I would find that I don't necessarily like to talk to people all the time, but I enjoy going out and doing things, and actually just being inside drains me, which would make me an extrovert. Fans were going wild, and there was even apparently a video of Jung Kook doing the standing next to choreography while he was waiting at the airport. And people absolutely loved this. They could not believe Jung Kook was being this cute and that he was literally giving everyone a show. People got to see a real-life mini concert, and I also want to talk about this a little bit because people get so upset when people go to the airport, but not just when they go. People are even more upset when the people record it and then the footage goes viral. I don't even know how to prove that people showing up at the airport is not necessarily a bad thing, and the sole reason as to why it's not a bad thing is because the idol could literally go through the back. The label can call ahead, get Jung Kook through a private back entrance. Every airport has it. Look up private lounges and private travels to the airport. That's a thing. The idols choosing to make their appearance public is a publicity stunt. And honestly, I feel like if you're in K-pop or in K-pop for many years, you have to have picked that up. So I only see the people who are claiming that those who show up at the airport are sasaengs to be people that are jealous. They're jealous that they don't get the opportunity to show up at the airport and see Jung Kook, or in this case, have video footage of Jung Kook doing mini dances. On the other hand, while we have the viewers being very upset that they possibly don't get the chance to meet Jung Kook, the other half of the internet is angry at Jung Kook apparently for being quote-unquote slutty. People have a lot of opinions on Jung Kook's body, and K-pop is really the only industry in which I see slut and body shaming for both men and women. And I'm really confused how it got there. Due to the fact that idols aren't allowed to date, it opens up the conversation for shaming anyone who may want to date, which opens up another avenue to insult someone. These fans will stop at no level, and just when you think they've gone too low, they will find a new low and go lower than that. People were calling Jung Kook weak and ugly and then insulting Jung Kook Calvin Klein photos. And these photos actually look really good. But people will insult Jung Kook to say he either looks bad or say that he is slutty, depending on which one would cause a bigger reaction. And I don't think these people actually care if someone is slutty or whatever. They just want a reaction from the people when they're insulting their favorite idol. And that's worse. How has no one attempted to put these people into a mental asylum? You're telling me people sitting around getting joy from seeing people online mad or making threats online to get attention doesn't qualify that the person go to jail? How? People think that if Jung Kook saw this or read these comments, he would be hurt, and Jung Kook might be hurt. However, I want to ask people not to engage in these types of comments because it's exactly what they want. Just ignore it. Don't ask your friends to report it or post about it and get mass people to report it too. Just ignore it, because the people who post these things can see how many people have seen the comment or tweet, and if they're seeing it's a lot, that's what they want. Don't interact means don't even go to the tweet. Jungkook has advised the same thing to say those who dislike BTS or leave bad comments are people that armies shouldn't even give their time to. And yet time and time again, the fans start fan wars over things that the artist has told you not to. And you might think this is silly, and it's nothing worth even bringing up, as these fan wars or hate between fandoms don't affect the artist. You're wrong. These hate comments sometimes come from fandoms of other groups who want to bring down a different group. And when the fandom gets so heated, guess what happens? The fandom puts the drama onto the artist and demands the artist speaks up. The drama that happens between each other that is never ever pushed by the idol is suddenly the idol's problem. And how is it the idol's problem? Because there's been cases where BTS and EXO fans were fighting each other even though the members weren't. An entire audience decided to close their light sticks and protest when BTS performed, aka a black ocean. Recently, Jungkook went to an airport and a bunch of craziness started to happen. Every time an artist is on the move, fans get anxious because haters online will write terrible things about how they're attempting to end the life of the singer, because they know exactly where the singer will be. Given that Jungkook and Jimin were both seen at the airport and believed to be heading to Japan, people expected that either Jimin or Jungkook are probably going to be back to Korea soon, so it probably wouldn't be much of a risk to just camp out at the Incheon airport, or at least say online that you're going to and going to hurt Jungkook. It was then reported that Jungkook did make an appearance at Incheon airport recently, and people went nuts online. Those crazy people are never actually ever going to do anything to Jungkook, but as I mentioned before, they are super bored with their lives and need the attention and the thrill of maybe getting arrested and going to jail. I will say that I have seen more and more of these threats recently, and it makes it very sad to know that the boys are being targeted in such a way. The fact that they might have to live their life in a way where they have to look over their shoulders, and I wish the government or more people could step in and do something about this. And we as the audience also need to stop normalizing saying these things. And I don't mean anyone here watching, but I've literally seen people tell news accounts to go die because they report on the news, but no one is objecting to that. What that does is it makes this idea that sending threats to people is super casual. And I've ranted before about how people send threats to idols or just threats to people online. I was told I was dramatic and it either is not a big deal or it didn't happen. When in reality, sending threats to someone, even as a joke, is not a joke. Imagine someone like Jungkook being super successful and working super hard, only to read comments like that. It makes the job not even worth it anymore, because what's more worth it than your life? People are even more scared when recently we are seeing more and more moments where Jungkook is just casually walking by at the airport and suddenly a huge crowd of people come near him. The security honestly can't even do much in this situation. Imagine if these haters were real and came charging at Jungkook with a knife. The security can form a barrier, but there would be gaps in that human barrier, gaps that someone could throw a knife through or throw a punch. And for that reason, I see the objection to the airport situation. However, I do want to add Jungkook and all the BTS members are likely very aware of these types of people that exist online and the type of threats they get. Meaning if they're getting those threats and still choosing to show up at the airport, then yeah, Jungkook might be upset, but he's not letting the haters win. And as many threats as Jimin has gotten, it still hasn't ruined or destroyed Jimin's motivation to continue and still be an idol. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.